Seminole Drive in Cabazon.
The Inner Voice Show is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health or illness condition. Please consult your physician, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist for personal matters.
Inner Voice, a heartfelt chat with Dr. Foojan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Inner Voice Show. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine and have Sean in studio. Now, this is a show about what matters most in life: our mind, thoughts, feelings, actions, relationships, and our fulfillment in this beautiful journey of life. In this show, I'll bring you the latest research on dating. People strive to date people out of their league. Yes, you heard it. Like, we thought it was just something people used to say. Oh my God, you're going out with somebody who's out of your league. This study tells you how we actually strive for that. Interesting. And then I'll speak to Angela Holton, an international coach, speaker, author, and founder of Love Sanctuary, an online spiritual and personal development site, and we will talk about conscious dating. You can call us at the studio at 951-922-3532 to talk to me or Angela, and we'll be right back with the tip of the week.
Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan is a radio and TV host, international speaker, psychotherapist, life coach, and the author of Life Reset, The Awareness Path to Create the Life You Want. She brings you the latest research and interviews with experts in the field of cognitive sciences. Anyone who loves to grow and create growth for humanity gets a voice on this call-in show. Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk KMET 1490 AM and on KMET1490AM.com.
So this is the tip of the week. Now, there are many ways of looking at reality. One way, through your own perception, through your fantasies, through your fulfilling prophecies, like we already think of something to be there, and then we look at reality as if only through our lens, it's only fulfilling the prophecy we said. Through our assumptions, or what is simply tangible as is in front of you. Whatever it is, it is. Your vision and future fantasies could possibly be a destination for you to create what you desire in the future as a possible tangible reality. You could create goals, you could create visions and figure, this is not reality today, but hey, I can make it for the future. But denying or superimposing your fantasies or what you think is going to happen in the future to what it is now and think that it's actually real in front of you will create more suffering for you, since reality has its way of consistently show up and kind of like hit you in your face, and to be recognized and dealt with as is. Now, if you're not dealing with your marriage, your work, people at work, your supervisor or co-workers or employees, however you work, your health, your weight, your habits of eating, as is, just the way it is, and insist on not dealing with them, then what's there is not something that you like, and it will persist because you're not dealing with it. It will persist until you have no option to deal with it. In the meantime, you'll create more pain for yourself and others. If you don't know how to handle what's coming at you from others, if they're behaving a particular way and you just don't want to deal with it, and you figure if I just avoid them, not deal with them, give them a cold shoulder, hide, somehow they'll go away, got news for you. They keep coming back until they're dealt with. So if you don't like to deal with what's coming at you from others or what you have created as a result of a mistake. Anything that in your life you made a mistake and you're like, I'm just not going to deal with it. I'm going to go hide so people don't figure out I've done the mistake. Then stop justifying, denying, opposing, rebelling, and defending your position, because all of that just creates excess energy that you have to deal with while you're not actually dealing with what's in front of you. So you're wasting all this energy on things that doesn't matter because it won't change the reality or what's there in front of you. So that one will keep coming up and you've wasted all this energy. Now learn, educate yourself, and handle what needs to be handled. This will minimize, I promise. This will minimize your suffering and create freedom and lightness for you. Even at the time that you have to face whatever is real and it's painful, the amount of pain you have to face and deal with will be minimized because it's just the amount that you have to deal with versus postponing it, suffering, postponing it, being painful, postponing it, suffering, and go through all of that while you still, at any moment that you actually think that you have to deal with it, you still have to go through that suffering. So might as well take away the suffering and the pain of the anticipation of dealing with it. Let's just deal with it. And if you don't know, let's learn together how to deal with it. And I hope this helps for you. We'll be right back with the latest research.
Hello, I'm Dr. Foojan, and I have great news for you. I'm offering a special time-limited offer to anyone who's interested in online therapy or coaching sessions. I've developed the awareness integration model, which allows in only 12 weeks to raise your self-esteem and confidence and let go of your thoughts and emotions that produce depression and anxiety for you. So call today to schedule your online session and save $600. Call me today at 818-648-2140. That's 818-648-2140. Or go to www.foojan.com.
Welcome back to Inner Voice Show, and I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine, and this is the latest research. Do dating leagues exist? Really? A massive study of online dating finds that everyone, yes, everyone, dates aspirationally, and that a woman's desirability peaks 32 years before a man's does. Go figure. Dr. Elizabeth Brooke, it's either Brooke or Brush, a professor of sociology at the University of Michigan, says leagues do seem to exist, but you're not alone in trying to escape yours. 3/4 or more of people are dating aspirationally. And according to a new study, users of online dating sites spend most of their time trying to contact people out of their league. In fact, most online dating users tend to message people exactly 25% more desirable than they are. Now, in the new study published August 2018 in the journal Science Advances, Brush and her colleagues analyzed thousands of messages exchanged on a popular free online dating service between more than 186,000 straight men and women. They looked only at 4 metro areas: New York, Boston, Chicago, and Seattle, and only at messages from January 2014 till last year, 2018, 4 years. Imagine for a second that you are one of her users, one of Dr. Brush's users and colleagues studied. In fact, imagine that you are a very desirable user. Your specific desirability rank would have been generated by 2 figures: whether other desirable people contacted you and whether other desirable people responded when you contacted them. So you could swipe right or left. If you contacted a much less desirable person, their desirability score would rise. If they contacted you and you replied, then your score would fall. The team had to analyze both first message and first replies because, well, men usually make the first move. And that's interesting that in the United States, men usually make the first move. That's a little bit more cultural. A defining feature of a heterosexual online dating is that in the vast majority of cases, it is men who establish the first contact. More than 80% of first messages are from men in the data set. But women reply very selectively to the messages they receive from men. The average reply rate is less than 20%. So women's replies can give us significant insight about who they're interested in. Yet what also emerges from the data is a far more depressing idea of leaks than many joking friends would suppose. Across the 4 cities, and thousands of users, consistent patterns around age, race, and education level emerge. White men and Asian women are consistently appear to become more desired than other users, while Black women ranked anonymously lower for some reason. It was the way that they actually set up their ranking system. So Bush said that race and gender stereotypes often get mixed up with the race acquiring gendered connotations, such as Asian is coded as female. So that's why Asian women get so much market power and Asian men get so little. And she said that for Black men and women, it's the opposite. But what are seen is overwhelming the effect of white preference, she cautioned. The sites are predominantly white, 70% white. If this was a site that was 20% white, we may see a totally different desirability hierarchy. So this does not necessarily say much about the whole continent. This is just about how that website was working, but it's interesting that that's what the ratio was. Here are 6 other not entirely happy takeaways from Bush's study. So the first one, in the study, men's desirability peaks at age 50, 45 to 50, but women's desirability starts high at age 18 and then falls throughout their lifespan. Can you imagine that? Now, some parts of the reason, I suppose, that for age 50, 45 to 50 was the highest desirability. Supposedly, most men at that age are settled, ready to be going into a committed relationship. They're stable financially. They figured it all out, and they're probably ready to move forward. And for women, it's interesting that the notion of the younger women are desirable. It seems like it was coming through in this. Now, New York is a men's market. This is the second one. New York is a men's market, at least according to this particular study. Seattle is a women's market. And there's a ratio of, Seattle is a women's market and also the only place where men succeeded by sending longer opening messages. And Seattle presents the most unfavorable dating climate for men, with as many as 2 men for every woman in some segments. Women's prospects dim not only as they age, but as they achieve the highest level of education. Go figure. A more educated man is almost always more desirable on average. Men with postgraduate degrees outperform men with bachelor's degrees. Men with bachelor's degrees beat high school graduates. But for women, an undergraduate degree is most desirable. The study says postgraduate education is associated with decreased desirability among women. Wow, more and more it presents that powerful women have harder time to be able to date, especially when their age goes higher than 18. Men did not, okay, this is the 5th one. Men did not find more success when they sent happy messages. Across all 4 cities, men tended to use less positive language when messaging, and more desirable women, they may have stumbled upon the strategy through trial and error because in all 4 cities, men experienced highly experienced slightly lower reply rates when they wrote positively. Almost no one message user less desirable than they are. Most people seem to know that they're positioned on the hierarchy because they most contact people who rank themselves. The most common behavior for both men and women is to contact members of the opposite sex who, on average, have roughly the same ranking as themselves. So, there you go. This all came out from one of the websites, but you've noticed very much that most of the people are going online in order to start dating because obviously it's more at ease. They have access to many, many, many more people, and so therefore they are having this success. However, the concept of people wanting to go out of their league, I think that especially if people have higher self-esteem, definitely they want to go with someone who they also see that it gives them an added value. People who have low self-esteem, they definitely want somebody not lower than them. They want somebody who brings them, success into their life. And you'll see more and more people going after striving, like relationship becomes something that is the next goal to achieve, and it's the striving to have someone which offers more than them, or at least different, but to them the different might even look like that it's highest. But it's interesting that in average, we would constantly see that there's a distinct difference between women's age and power and high ranking. And if they're business owners or if they're higher educated, that they're having more difficulty with dating because they really do want more powerful men. And a lot of the more powerful men might not necessarily enjoy to be in a relationship that they have to share the power. So that appears to be some part of the social concept that is creating that. And I know many of the women who are older age of 50 and up are having much more difficulty to go into intimate, long-lasting intimate relationships than men. And there are many, many more single, older women and highly educated and business women that are out there looking for mates. So there you go. We're going to be with Angela Holton. Actually, we're going to talk about conscious dating, and we're going to talk about some of these concepts from her experience also. Angela Holton is an international coach, speaker, author, and founder of Love Sanctuary, an online spiritual and personal development site centered on helping women silence their fear and build greater confidence in tapping into their passion and inner gifts and discovering their unique purpose, dream career, and their greatest love. Angela uses practical strategies for self-love, meditation, and other techniques to support and coach her clients in creating more fulfilling, loving, and purposeful lives. Angela is the author of the ebook, The Love Sanctuary Guide 30 Days to Deepen Your Relationship to Love, Abundance, and co-authored Whisper of the Heart, Manifesting Modern Miracles, and 111 Morning Meditations. Create Your Own Day with Intention. And her writings have appeared on multiple online publications, including Huffington Post, Elephant Journal, Tiny Buddha, and The Glow Up. Now, she's the creator of the online courses Power Your Purpose and Conscious Dating. And in 2018, she was selected as the spiritual leader top pick by publishing company Visionary Sight Press. Angela has appeared on various radio talk shows and podcasts, including Rolanda on Demand with Rolanda Watts, American Meditating Radio with Sister Jenna, 30-Minute Moments, LA Talk Radio with me when I was there, and the Great Girlfriends United Queendom, Networking with Michelle and more. She's the creator and the host of the online interviews series, the Radical Self-Love series. Actually featured me. I was there too, featuring over 30 and top spiritual leaders, healers, and luminaries from around the world. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with Angela Holton.
Dr. Foojan Zeine is a psychotherapist, a marriage and family therapist, and a life coach with more than 27 years of experience. She is the author of the Awareness Integration Model, which has been researched and published in numerous international journals. Dr. Foojan has offices in Beverly Hills, Irvine, and Woodland Hills, California, and also consults online and by telephone. Make an appointment with her today by calling 818-648-2140 or go online to www.foojan.com. That's www.foojan.com. Join the conversation every Monday afternoon at 3 p.m. Pacific for Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Dr. Foojan is a radio and TV host, international speaker, psychotherapist, life coach, and the author of Life Reset, The Awareness Path to Create the Life You Want. She brings you the latest research and interviews with experts in the field of cognitive sciences. Anyone who loves to grow and create growth for humanity gets a voice on this call-in show. Inner Voice Heartfelt Chat with Dr. Foojan. Monday afternoons at 3 p.m. Pacific on Smart Talk KMET 1490 AM and on KMET1490am.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Foojan, and I have great news for you. I'm offering a special time-limited offer to anyone who's interested in online therapy or coaching sessions. I've developed the Awareness Integration Model, which allows in only 12 weeks to raise your self-esteem and confidence and let go of your thoughts and emotions that produce depression and anxiety for you. So call today to schedule your online session and save $600. Call me today at 818-648-2140. That's 818-648-2140, or go to www.foojan.com.
Check us out online at KMET1490am.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine. This is the Inner Voice Show, and I am so excited to have Angela Holton with me, international coach, speaker, author, founder of Love Sanctuary. It is so nice to have you with me here.
John, it's so nice to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, we had a great time when I was doing work at LA Talk Radio, and you were on my show, and we were together. I saw you actually in India when we went with the American Meditating group and Sister Jenna, and actually I saw you in Washington the first time.
You did. That's the first time we met. Was in
Yes.
DC. 20-year anniversary of the American Meditating Museum.
Meditating Museum. So I'm going to thank Sister Jenna for getting introducing us together.
Exactly. And so how lovely for us to share India together.
I know. We constantly want to talk about India because we had such a great time there.
It's going to be with us forever.
Yes. Now, today, I know we've talked before about the self-love, and I'm sure that people can still go through Love Sanctuary and find the classes and, sign up for it. I think that was beautiful, not just because I was part of it, but just because there were just so many beautiful people there, and we learned so much from everyone. But today you have another course that's coming up, which is about conscious dating. Oh. And so we want to talk about, what do you mean by conscious dating?
Yeah, well, it still is in that same fabric of self-love. And conscious dating is really about really becoming the one as you're in search of the one, because so much of dating is focused on finding that right person rather than becoming that right person. And so it still really falls in that same culture of self-love. It's about dating with intention, with clarity, mindfulness, practice, and really keeping self-love with you and self-worth in that whole process, that whole journey.
It's interesting that most of the people, I've seen this with both men and women, but mostly women, when it comes to dating at the beginning, it's almost like their self-confidence, even if it's up on very, in their career, every other aspect of their life. Right when it comes about dating, their confidence just goes zero down. First of all, beauty becomes one of the biggest conversation for them. Are they just perfect and beautiful? And they get confused many times, and I see this also almost kind of every day in my practice, which is that they get confused between this concept of their illusion or their assumption that men don't want to commit themselves. So they have to act as if they say the commitment world, or if they really want to talk about loving and being in love and all of that, that they're going to suddenly turn off men. So they're going to, they have to run away and kind of like bring themselves down and kind of, play a game as if that's a game that they have to present. What are your findings?
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I actually was in that situation years ago in my early 30s where I compromised what I really wanted to kind of go along with this like non-commitment relationship with someone. And it left me devastated with a broken heart because I wasn't true to myself. I wasn't committed to what I wanted, and I didn't ask him for what I wanted. And now after that relationship, I said I would never do that again. I would speak my truth and what I desired and what I wanted. And if he wasn't on the same page with me, then he wasn't the one for me. But it was more damaging for me to kind of go along with this than it was to honor myself. And so I think it's important for women. No, you don't go out and say, talk about the wedding date on the first date. But I'm looking at conscious dating as a practice. It's like an interview process, like you would a job. And the difference between, like you said, women's confidence tends to wane when they start the dating. It's because our hearts get involved, our emotions get involved. Whereas work and business, yeah, there's some emotion involved, but it's not the delicate, sensitive parts of our heart. So it's easier to sort of be in that cerebral mind. But when it comes to dating, it's about the heart. And so I encourage women to be honest and kind of have your list about what it is that you want in a relationship and what type of relationship you want. And in your dating process, be true to that. Be true to yourself above all things. And that's self-love, right? That's really what's going to empower women. I think when we compromise ourselves and we end up in these relationships that we don't want, that's when our self-esteem and our confidence, I think, gets damaged.
Absolutely. There's one more conversation that I keep hearing, and I hear it in a way that is parts of it is accurate, which I hear from men many times. All women want, and at the beginning, all they really ask about is, are we wealthy or not, or how much money we have, and money is important for women. And again, most of what I've seen is safety and security is important for women, the same way as beauty and commitment, fidelity and all of that is also important for men. And this is, I think, genetically and, from an anthropological place, this was always something that human being had, especially women, in two layers. One was, yes, if they are in an age that they prefer to also have family and have children, it does become more, important to feel that they have the sense of security for them to be able to be off the job market and do that. But I've also sensed with women a lot of times it's just I really, really want to feel like I'm not alone and somebody has a sense of protecting me, where their nurturing sense appears that they're giving it. They're giving their nurturing. They're giving their what they need to give in the household, and they also want to feel like they are protected somehow. What is your finding as you work with people in your course and men out there on dating?
I think you hit the nail on the head. When biologically, whether anthropologically, we are designed to want to feel safe and protected. And I think that's secure and be safe and secure. And I think that security does include a home, shelter, nice provisions. But I do think as women, or some women, not all, often take that to an extreme. And a lot of that, some of that security involves material things. And if that's really important to a woman, no judgment. If that's really what makes you happy, then fine, you can lead with that in a relationship. But if it's not one of your core values, I encourage women to lead with what are your core values. Be clear on what your core values are. And if someone shows up with those core values, how big is the money issue on the table? If he's got everything else, and maybe he's, a middle class earner or, working class earner. What would you do? But he takes care of you like a gem. He shows up for you. And these are the questions I think women have to be aware of while they're dating, so that when the right person shows up that meets those values, you recognize him. Because if we don't know our values, we'll lead anywhere. We just want to be in a relationship. We just want to be saved, or we just want to have company. But really being aligned with our integrity and our self-worth, it's being mindful of our value system and really seeking relationships that mirror that, and making sure that we mirror those things that we're looking for as well.
Yes, I usually say, I think everybody, whether they're women or men, want it all. It's not like they just want one thing. They actually want all. They might settle. They might settle for something, but who says I'm not going to take it all. I'm just going to go for this piece. So the concept of the women only want something or men only want something, to me is like they want it all. Actually, they might settle something for what it's needed at that moment, and they're lacking in their life, and hopefully they'll expand that. But for anybody who says to me, I'm like, just put your all out there, and if your all is matching, then awesome. And if it's not, it's not, and don't worry about it.
No, it's true. And I think that, women have to be clear on what their needs are versus their wants. They talk about the 80-20 rule, that you're lucky if you get 80% of the values and desires that you want in a partner. So if 20% of it's missing, you're doing pretty good. And if you try and find someone else, they're going to have a different 80%. And they're not going to not have a different 20%. So it's kind of a choice. We want it all, but we're not going to get it all. So it's, what are you willing to trade off or not have or build to have? Because you never know, money, if that's something that's so important to you, you never know where that's going to build or come into the relationship. You might build business and entrepreneurial wealth or something together.
And it's usually, even if the relationship starts with fulfilling one part of the need, usually when that need is completed and fulfilled, then you want the next one, right? It's like the Maslow's hierarchy. It's like I know so many people who did, marry in wealth, and then it's like, where's my love? The person comes in. It doesn't matter how much you give me and these, purses and this and that. I want love. So it really is that we all want, we might go in looking only for what's lacking at that moment, but ultimately when that part is fulfilled, now you want the next level. Now you say, how can women date differently? You have a perspective on that. How would you say that women ought to date differently?
Well, one of the things is women should start dating. I have met so many women and talked to women who say they want to meet someone and they're not dating. Sure. I understand that completely because I've been there before. And now that I'm in the dating pool and really being very proactive and intentional about it, I realized that in the past, I wasn't being intentional. I wasn't even present in the dating culture. So my first suggestion is, are you dating? Or are you just waiting for someone to approach you at the airport, in the grocery store? How are you placing yourself in the dating game? You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to play the lottery in order to win it, right? So I encourage women. A lot of women have a lot of trepidation or cynicism toward online dating. Well, 30% of marriages are happening from online dating. So if you want to meet someone and you're not considering online dating, you're missing out on being a part of a significant percentage. I mean, 30% is 30%. So I encourage women, find an online dating service app that you like. There's so many based on culture, religion, sexual orientation, race. There's something for everyone. Age. Find one that you like. You might get frustrated, but approach dating as a practice. It's a smorgasbord. It is getting a sample of what you like, what you need, what you want and really value in a relationship. And it's kind of, I don't want to say, it's an interview process. It really is. And I think why I want women to date differently is because on that initial meeting, a woman's often thinking, he doesn't, they're thinking about the last name and where they're going to live and their wedding and all. Don't think that way. And I've been there, I get it, but really think, just have fun, enjoy this person. Maybe you're not attracted to them, but they make you laugh. So I look at it as though there's no bad dates, that you're going to learn something from every person you go out with. You're going to practice communication, vulnerability, transparency, because if you're not practicing those things in your dating, how are you going to have that vulnerability, that nakedness and rawness in a marriage, in a committed relationship? How are you going to have communication and transparency if you're not practicing in dating? So I want women to use dating as a practice arena. Go out, have fun, try to take this is the one every time you go out, and really think about, okay, each date that doesn't work out, that it's taking you closer to the one, and just learn, and really
And
learn.
I think online dating also has its own culture. And right before you came on, we had a research about online dating and desirability. But online dating really has its own culture. So I know a lot of people who get on online dating and they get very disappointed, like within the first week or so. And it's just like, this is a full-time job. And then they play game. And I think that for anyone who wants to do online, which I agree with you, it's the greater pool of people that you can have access, which we don't necessarily have, access personally to go in all of these places all the time. So it takes a lot of time, even if you didn't want to do it online, and you would actually have to go every night out to locations and networking areas and all of that to meet people. But there's definitely a difference of way of presenting yourself when it comes online, different way of communicating. And I would really also, based on what you're saying, to suggest that for them to study a little bit, like go to, classes, take different types of courses about even how to be successful in online dating versus, one-on-one when somebody approaches you, watches you from far. And sometimes it's like, you're the way that you are completely engrossed in yourself, in your demeanor, it shows. So kind of like the neon sign says closed, I'm not available, versus at any point to have that type of an availability and kind of saying, I am dateable, I am in looking. And I think that shows up in person when you have that kind of an attitude, and you could go to anywhere. You could go to Starbucks, Ralph's, anywhere that you are, and kind of have that people approach you. But there's a different way of holding that availability kind of sign when it comes into online dating. Have you noticed that at all, or what kind of advice would you have for our audience?
I can just use myself as an example, because, being proactive in the online dating, and just being open-minded and really being in a place of receiving, I'm meeting men everywhere, whether it's in person, whether it's people from my past, they're just showing up, and it's because of the energy that I'm giving off, right? It's always about the vibration. So I encourage women, if you get discouraged, because it's going to happen, you're going to get frustrated, take a break, take a week or 2 weeks off, but don't stop, right? Get back in the game, get back on the horse, and keep trying. It's a slow and steady race sometimes. And, the universe matches us in our intention. So eventually the things that we are in pursuit of, and we put our intention and our time, I do believe the universe rewards us or meets us in that manifestation. So women, I think we need to work on not having that need of a relationship, and it comes more from a place of desirability and desire of a relationship, because a man can smell desperation 1,000 miles away. Right. And that's the energy you give off. Oh, she wants it. She needs this. But really,
I think anybody looks at that desperation, and desperation is not attractive at all.
And that's why this course I'm teaching, the conscious dating, we talk about self-love and really becoming the love that you want. Because when you become the love that you want, people see that and they're attracted to it. You walk in the room and they're attracted to your energy, your confidence. When you love yourself, and you don't need anyone to fill your own voids, you exude empowerment, you exude confidence, and a man feels like, wow, she's attractive. I just want to be around her energy. She looks like she'd be fun. And I can only use myself as an example right now. That's what I'm attracting.
Angela, have you noticed that when people come from that kind of a needy and desperate type of an energy, the people who they actually, most of the time, the people who they attract are bullies and people who would actually want to abuse you? Because that's almost what you're going. If you are someone who becomes a prey, you're going to request for a perpetrator to come in and hunt you in that way. So then they go to somebody who has the lowest confidence. They actually put themselves sometimes in a relationship where they're going to get repeatedly somehow used and abused, which brings their confidence more and more down. So what you say is so important in your course for them to really first love who they are and raise themselves to a space where they get to have the love that they deserve to have.
It's so true, Foojan. And it's not about cliche. You know, self-love, you and I've talked about it before. It's so much more than a hashtag. It's so much more than a trending topic. You know, when we really understand what it means to love ourselves, you feel so whole and complete that the relationship becomes a bonus. It really becomes the cherry on top because you feel like you've got purpose, passion, fulfillment in your life, even without it. And so even if you're not attracting an abusive relationship, I do think you can still attract someone where you're not going to be treated with the most respect. Yeah. I don't know how, the continuum of abusive, maybe it's some level of emotional abuse, but you're probably going to get someone who's going to reflect back that low sense of self-worth or that sense of desperation and make you feel that much more needy. But from that place of wholeness, when the guy doesn't like you, here's the other thing I do want to point out. As women, I think we also, and I don't know if your audience is mostly women or not. I know I've been mostly speaking to women, but I think as women, we also have to get comfortable with saying to ourselves, he's just not that into me, and being okay with it. Not feeling like our rejection, like that we're being so rejected and our self-worth is just pummeled. We get to define and decide our self-worth. And if someone doesn't want to be with us, it's okay. Everybody's not for everybody. So if someone says you go out with someone and you don't hear from them again and they ghost, it hurts. It definitely stings. I think ghosting and vanishing is really rude and uncivil behavior. But if someone does do that, they're not the one. Because the person that is going to honor, respect you the way that you desire and the way that your needs are requiring and asking for, he's not going to ghost you. He's not going to be disrespectful. So the guy who goes, let him go and say, okay, I'm that much closer to the one.
Exactly. And I think that knowing what you want, whether it's writing it consciously on a list or becoming more and more aware of it, I think that it shows more that when in the beginning they behave towards you in a particular way, you could always ask, if this is the way a person is going to be for the rest of our life together, is this really what I want or can tolerate or deserve to have? And then if that behavior is not appropriate, then guess what? You just, so thank God 20 years from now or 10 years or 2 years from now, you were going to say, oh my God, what did I do? Get myself into this relationship. Might as well look at it. It's right there in front of you. And sometimes because of the need, the desire to be in a relationship, we forgo the evidence, the symbols, the things that are right there in front of us. They're like smack into our eyes. And we're like, it's okay. He won't be that way. Maybe it's because of this or that. And we justify it, or worse, don't worry, with my love, I will change him. My unconditional love changes everybody's behavior at one point, and they'll be the one that I want them to be.
I'm guilty of telling myself that story before, whether it's been conscious or not. I've said that to myself.
Me too.
Right? But what I tell women now is when a man tells you who he is, believe him.
Yeah, take it face value.
Exactly. He's going to tell you. And I feel like men can't shy away from who they are. It just kind of comes out and they'll say very early on in the dating process. And if it raises a red flag, pay attention. And that's the dating with consciousness and intention is about. Like, don't just, I can change him. Like really hone in on what the things are that are coming up that are triggering you, that are evoking a response from you, that say, okay, I've been here before, or I know this behavior. Pay attention to those things. These are valuable lessons, right? If we've been dating for years, we have to have learned some skills, right? Hopefully we've learned something. I hope I've learned something, and one of the things I tell myself too is, I used to say, if I could date like I did in my 20s, when I just felt like the world was mine, that there was just a sea and a bevy of men where, there weren't those limitations or the pressure you feel at some point, a woman often feels. I thought, if I could just get to that point, it would just be great. And you know what? I've gotten to that place where I was in my 20s where I didn't need a man. I wanted one. And even when I didn't even know I wanted one in my 20s. It was just fun. And guess what? Men find that attractive. So at least back then, dating your 20s was easy. So now I'm finding dating and meeting men much easier. Not saying that it's easy, but much easier than it's ever been for me the last 10 years. And it's because I don't feel so hard pressed anymore.
Right,
and
right.
The men see it and they feel it. And it's attractive energy to be around. And whether it's a cat, whether it's the chase for them, but I don't feel like everyone who shows up, oh, I want to be with you. I want to be with you. And so they're putting in some courtship. I got flowers. I've gotten dinner. I got 8 Valentine's Day messages, so, and I can only attribute it to the work that I'm putting in. And that's what I'm working with my clients in my conscious dating course.
Angela, I think that a lot of people have the idea that only men are the one who like to hunt in the gaming business, in the dating business. It's not the truth. The women also like to hunt. And part of the research that was at the beginning is that even when men were just being very nice and very, very sweet, women, it wasn't actually attracting women. So the women also like to chase and have fun with that. So there is a part at the beginning that if someone who just comes in too sweet and too available and right there, it takes away the hunting game. So, and I'm not suggesting that people should have a game. I'm just saying that it should be appropriate with what the time is. Like if I'm confident and I need the time to assess who you are, then I need the time to assess who you are in reality. So I can't just jump in all, excited and too engrossed with you if I also value myself, because I need the time to actually see who you are for me. So I think just being real and with yourself allows this natural time of people gravitating toward each other, getting to know each other, and not necessarily have it be a game, but it's a natural space of connection together, which allows that type of excitement and anticipation of wanting to hear from someone, and kind of like that piece of hunting. We really enjoy. Now, something that you had said is like the biggest mistakes that women make in dating.
Okay, so I talked about not dating online. Another one is not dating multiple people at one time, putting all of our eggs in one basket. And I think,
which makes you needy and desperate at that point.
It's Baskin Robbins here. It is getting the full 31 flavors. And, really, don't, unless if you've been in the game dating long enough, if you know someone really meets your qualities and it's love at first sight or whatever that may be, there's, some synchronicities. And I still would encourage, keep your other options open. Don't put all of your love and energy and attention in one person until you're committed or until that person is ready to be with you exclusively. I say continue to date. And I think women often put all their energy in one person. So then if that doesn't work out, they're like so frustrated that there's no one else. Keep them all around. That's one of the things. I think we put too much energy in one person. And two, we often quit. We get frustrated, at least on the online dating, we get frustrated of what's out there. Someone emailed me today and said, Angela, I'm just frustrated with out there. And I think it's only been a week. That's nothing. What if you went job hunting for a week? Would you give up after a week if you were getting rejection letters? Or a week is no time at all. But I do say don't get out of the game too soon. If you feel tired, take a week off, take 2 weeks off, take a month off, but stay in the dating game. Mm-hmm. And also, as you said, come from a place of desire and not from need. And I think sometimes women make the mistake of putting this energy, this pressure of needing a relationship rather than desiring it. And as I said before, men smell that. Anyone can smell it. And they'll distance themselves. So really focus on yourself, really feeling your own voice and being the love that you desire, so that a man sees you as this confident woman who truly loves herself and he wants to be around you. And those are the main, and they also aren't aware of their values. I think one of the biggest mistakes women make is they just approach dating, I want to meet someone, but they're not clear on who they are. They're not aware of their emotional triggers. They're not aware of their belief systems. They're not aware of, what pleasures them and what turns them off. So the more you know about yourself, I think the better you can approach the dating game.
Beautiful. How do we attract greater love for ourselves?
Become it.
Mm-hmm.
Become it. Notice if you are a self-critic. Notice if you judge yourself with really berating negative thoughts, right? Because it's not loving, and it fragments our well-being. And if we want to be whole and complete beings, it's embracing all of our shortcomings. Doesn't say we can't work to improve and grow those parts of ourselves. But if we judge and cut off parts of ourselves we don't like, guess what? They just become exacerbated, right? They just want to express themselves more. And then it's like a fight, right? Your lower self wants to fight your imperfections, and it just goes back and forth. But really notice if you're the self-critic and judge, and silence those thoughts. Be more kind and patient and compassionate with yourself. However you want your partner to treat you, on the emotional level, the physical level, the material level, treat yourself that way. Really be your own greatest love. Don't wait to do and buy certain things for yourself. Say certain things to yourself. Write your own love letters before he or she shows up. Be that expression of love fully.
So it's not only be it, but act it, as I'm hearing from you. It's like experience the experience of who you want to be, and live that every day, and then act it, like express that consistently. So people who are attracted to that type of a person and vibration, they also come in because they enjoy it, they recognize it, and they really want the same thing. As that's what I'm hearing from you.
And do you agree that life mirrors us, right? And that relationships serve as our mirrors, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's becoming who you want reflected back to you.
Yes.
And if you have some self-forgiveness that you have to work through, or forgiveness towards someone else, work on that, because that will also open up your heart to receive someone else. You've released your past. Forgive your ex-lovers, ex-partners, so that you're really in a place of receiving. If you're still thinking about your ex, insidiously or heavily or not, work toward releasing that person and forgiving them. There's meditations you can do. There's letters and writing you can do. But that will all help you be in a better place of receiving and being open to something new.
Beautiful. Tell us about the Conscious Dating course, Becoming the One You Want.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. This just really started from over the holidays, and I was really guided. It really came from my internal guide, and really heard a voice say, you need to teach this course. And I'm like, I'm not qualified to teach this course. And then Spirit told me, you're more than qualified to teach this course.
Yeah.
So this dating course is about not just challenging you to date and get out there, but to really help you see yourself in a mirror, your self-awareness, your self-love, your self-worth, your belief systems. What do you think about men and relationships, how you're recreating relationships and patterns, and help you create new patterns, new belief systems, new relationships, and get you out there dating and sampling. And that's the challenge. I want women to date. It's yes. A numbers game. It's a numbers game. So
yes,
I'm excited about the course. We're starting next Tuesday, March 5th.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, and then we're going to have a panel of men that are going to come on and tell us what you're looking for, help you with your online profile, and tell you all the turn-ons and turn-offs that men experience.
Awesome. So they can go to lovesanctuary.com.
That's correct.
Lovesanctuary.com, and you can find the course, Conscious Dating course, Becoming the One You Want, with Angela Holton. Thank you so much, Angela, for taking the time and being with me, and hope to see you soon again in New York.
Thank you so much for having me, Foojan.
Thank you. For everyone out there, it was amazing to be with all of you. Create an amazing life for yourself and everyone, and see you back here next week. Bye-bye.
The Inner Voice Show is a dialogue between the host and the listeners about their relationships. This show is not an attempt to assess, diagnose, or treat any mental health or illness condition. Please consult your physician, psychiatrist, or psychotherapist for personal matters.